Good evening. I'm Paul. This is Dave. I am a beer enthusiast, and Dave here is a beer brewer and a certified judge. And we are here bringing you another episode of Casktalk. This evening we're doing the Franzischaner Weissbier
Franzishaner. Not like Frankenstein.
Yeah, well.
Franzischaner Weissbier. So this is our second Weissbier, because we kind of did a Weissbier a little bit ago, earlier, an American version of it.
By the way, we try to shoot 2 episodes in a night when we do our shooting, so.
Yes. So this is the German style. I'm a big fan of it. I'm honestly a big fan of any style of beer that has a monk on it. And if you know the history of beer, like you know why monks are really important in regards to what has developed beer to be what it is today.
It's not because they were drunks?
That too.
Or was it because they were fasting and could only drink beer?
I think that, yeah, it didn't count as eating, so they were able to drink, and so it allowed them to fast more often, and they weren't doing much other stuff, so besides doing a lot of reading, so they loved to experiment around with sciences, and the world of beer owes quite a lot to the development, be it in Belgium and Germany, has a rich heritage of monks who have really kind of created so many different kinds of styles.
Well, cheers to the friars. Anyway, this brewery itself, they said it had been around since 1397. In its history, it's been owned by several families. It was actually bombed in Munich, and apparently they got it up in time, if I remember correctly, just to get the beer ready for Oktoberfest in like 1950. So it's been through a lot. The style here is like he said, a Weizen beer, which is a wheat beer. It's 5% ABV. I couldn't find anything on the bittering units. And the beer itself follows the German purity laws.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. I think I've mentioned it before. It's kind of like our FDA, where we wanted something in writing that basically said, hey, if you're going to call it beer, it's got to be these ingredients. Because of that, it's probably bottle conditioned, because you're not adding CO2 to it. You're just adding more beer to it to allow it to...
You're adding the yeast, I think is what...
Yeah, carbonate kind of naturally. So naturally carbonated. I'm expecting it to be maybe a little murky. Maybe some really estery kind of flavors. Fruity, banana, clove, wheat, kind of flavors coming out of it. So I'm really excited about giving it a try.
Well, without further ado.
All right, let's pop it open. And we opted for the big beers because we're pretty sure that we were going to like this one. Though honestly, we like most beers.
This is true. And that is a lot more head than I expected.
Yeah, so our last beer that we had didn't have a lot of head. I think it's because, looking back at it, it probably had some orange oil in it. And that orange oil was probably negating a lot of that head retention.
By the way, it was the Four Peaks Joy Bus Wow, which is a good beer.
Yeah,
I recommend
so I'm going to kick this on so you can kind of see. Yeah, it's got some good carbonation in it, really solid carbonation.
Cloudy.
Really nice moussey head on the top of it. Exactly what I would be expecting out of a nice German beer. And a nice little murkiness to it.
Nice smell. It's got a very nice smell.
Yeah. So before it was almost
the banana.
Yeah, it was almost like an unnatural smell, though it was really pleasant. This really just smells a lot more like beer. That banana.
Yep, the banana is definitely there.
Banana,
citrus
clove.
Noticeable. Not really getting the clove, but it could be just the way I poured my beer versus the way you poured yours.
Gosh, I just have so many good memories of drinking different Hefeweizens and wheat beers, and very reminiscent.
Excellent lacing. This is a very different beer. This is a very different beer. This beer is not like the Four Peaks at all. It reminds me a lot of the Plankheller Weizenbock that I love.
Mm-hmm.
It's not got the spices at the end. It's
I think that Weizenbach was really strong too. Like this is a 5% alcohol. I think that one was like a 7 or something.
Yeah, this is not a flavor that punches you in the face, but it's definitely there.
Yeah, really subtle, and they do such a great job. I mean, the German. I think one of the things that, and I'm a big German beer person, so I love Bocks and double Bocks and wheat beers and Weizens and all sorts of Kolsch's and different kinds of beers throughout Germany. But man, have they really kind of perfected this. This is really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, this is a bit heavier on the mouthfeel than the previous beer as well. The last beer was very thin. This is not a beer I would recommend as far as like a hot summer evening.
Yeah, a lot more body to this. But when you compare it to like some of the Bocks that we had and some of those winter beers,
those beers,
those were heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a lot to them. This is thin compared to that, so I think that under the right palate, it's still refreshing to drink this. You're getting a lot of those flavors from the yeast. I mean, when it boils down to it, the wheat is the perfect palate for the yeast to really create an amazing portrait from. Because they're going to go out there, they're going to create all these different esters. They almost have to be stressed. So a lot of times what you'll do is you'll play with temperature, be it cold or hot. Obviously it's
this is an ale, so it's
typically warmer.
Bottom yeast, right?
Yeah, bottom yeast, but warmer temperatures. So you're going to be fermenting it probably in the 60s, and some people will choose to be in the 70s, purely just to help stress that yeast, create more of those kind of flavors. Sometimes you'll even not give them as many nutrients, knowing what sort of mix of malts will give them nutrients. You may stress them a little bit when it comes to that. Maybe not aerate the wort as much.
You can tell there is malt in this too.
Mm-hmm.
That just like it's there, but it's not there kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you would definitely miss the malt.
Really pleasant. It has a very natural sense. The other one almost seemed unnatural. This seems really natural to me. Mainly because I know where it's coming from, but it just has a really great smell.
Yeah, I like it. To be honest with you, I'm enjoying it. So now that we've had some time to drink it and talk about it.
A little bit of hoppiness to it, but no bitterness. So I think a little
Yeah,
hoppiness
I'm barely
in the flavor.
noticing any of the hops.
Yeah, I'm noticing it in the flavor, but not in the bitterness. A little bit of bitter touch to it, but it's not overly sweet either. It has that wheaty kind of feeling to it. So you kind of taste that wheat. You're tasting kind of the cloviness to it, a little fruitiness to it.
It's good.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with it. I think they do a fantastic job. If I remember correctly, this is one that is heavily sought after when it comes to German Weiss beers. Presentation, I'm going to give it a step up from before. So I'm probably going to give it a solid 9. I think the aroma's great, natural. It's exactly what I would expect. Maybe could go a little bit more with the aroma. The taste it hits the mark. It has multiple different kind of flavor characteristics, all really either coming from most likely the yeast. It's really the wheat and the yeast that are interacting there to kind of create that flavor profile. The had good head on it.
Yeah.
Which I know that we kind of lacked before.
Still got good head
Yeah, and
on
I
it.
like being able to kind of drink through it. It kind of creates some good stuff. So
And it stays in your mustache.
yeah, that too. Yeah.
A little flavor after the flavor.
Yeah, so I'm a strong 9 on the presentation, and I'm probably going to go 9 on the taste too.
You like it that much?
Yeah, this just happens to be one of those kind of beers that I really, really enjoy.
Well, I'm going to go with an 8 on the presentation on this one. I think the smell is a little subdued, although pleasant. I think it's a good looking beer, but I don't know, maybe my palate's a little messed up from the previous one. As far as the taste is concerned, it has a very good taste, but I'm going to stick also with the 8 on it just because it feels like it's kind of a weak flavor to me. I think it could be stronger.
Yeah. That could be the wheat. Some of the other styles that we've had with the box and those kind of things typically are a little bit stronger. And I know one of your favorites is the that plank
Heller Weizenbach.
And that is obviously much stronger. This is going to be a little bit more on the weaker side.
Yeah, this is more subdued.
But I imagine like pizza, beer, this would be a great match for drinking some pizza and beer.
All right, your overall impression?
Overall impression, yeah, I'm up there. So I'm going to probably do a 9 on it and probably do like a 9.5 on my personal preference. Because it is one of the styles of beers where there's a few out there that I might choose over it, but if they just have a regular flight of beers and there's nothing really amazing, any Heffy I'm going to probably go after. And I think this is a really, really good one. I might even choose a specific restaurant if I know
They serve
this. So like if I know that, hey, that place serves that, we're going to go to pizza over there instead. I can see making that choice.
I can understand that. As far as the overall impression, it's going to be at 8 again. Pretty much, it's a good beer. It's a quality beer. It's got a pleasant mouthfeel to it. It's got a good look to it. It's got a good scent to it, even though it's a little weak. It's got a good flavor to it, even though it's a little subdued. So objectively, it's getting 8s across the board for me. As far as my personal preference, this guy is going to be more like a 6.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I will definitely take this over a lot of other beers. That's not an issue. I will also say I'm just kind of not impressed with the beer myself when I'm drinking it. I'd like a little something more, maybe a stronger flavor, maybe a little, I don't know, something that says "Here I am," and this doesn't have a whole lot of "Here I am" factor to me.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. I do like the fact that it's somewhat light, though. It doesn't feel super heavy, and I get that out of a lot of wheat beers, and I think that's why I kind of lean towards a lot of wheat beers.
Yeah, it's so light. As far as wheat beers are concerned, in my experience, this is actually a heavier one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still, not going to touch a porter or a stout or, a nice healthy lager. It's definitely going to be stronger than a Pilsner is going to be, or, a red might be as far as thickness is concerned. But, I mean, it's a very well done beer. I'm not dissing that level. It's not for me.
Well, I definitely love it, and I think that for me, it hits that kind of characteristic that I'm really looking for in beer, which is like a really estery beer. So I'm looking for something that's going to have something that's really yeasty, has a lot of yeasty character to it. I like a lot of Belgian beers that have a lot of yeasty characteristic, which are obviously different. So those are the kind of things that I look for. It is subtle, but I think that's, for me, what I really like about it, is that it is so subtle, but it's present.
Yeah, it's not a bold beer.
Yeah, it's not super bold, like punch you in the face kind of thing, but it is, they're there. You can identify those kind of smells, and sometimes it's just a matter of you have the receptors that respond to it.
Yeah.
I really like it. I would definitely have it again. I'd love to hear everyone else's opinion as well.
I would say, even though it's not for me, you should give it a try because it might be for you.
Yeah. This is definitely going to be on my summer drinking list, and we should post actually a drinking list. That'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this would definitely be on my summer drinking list this year. this or some other version of a Weissbier.
Well, at any rate, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in and sticking with us this long. Please like, subscribe, share, convince your friends to watch our stuff, and do the same. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Prost.
Cheers.